The Council of Alien Species had ruled the galaxy for centuries. They were proud, powerful, and feared by almost every species. They believed that humans were small, weak, and unimportant. Humans were only allowed to settle a few small planets at the edges of Council territory. Most aliens ignored them, thinking they were simple and harmless. But humans had grown quietly. They had studied the galaxy, learned its ways, and prepared themselves in ways no alien had ever guessed. On one quiet morning, the peace of a small human colony called Avonport was shattered. A council envoy, a high-ranking diplomat named Krellin, had arrived to inspect the colony. Krellin was arrogant and loud, speaking to humans as if they were children. He demanded information about the colony's defenses, population, and resources. Humans, led by Sarah and Liam, tried to answer politely, following every rule. But a terrible accident happened. A small energy core, part of the colony's power system, malfunctioned during the inspection. It exploded suddenly and Krellin was killed in the blast. Humans immediately rushed to help. Doctors worked tirelessly, alarms blared, and the colony's security forces secured the area. The humans were horrified. They did not want war. They did not want death. They wanted only peace. The Council, however, saw things differently. To them this was no accident. Humans have attacked us, the Council declared. This is murder. They must pay. Messages were sent to Avonport demanding surrender, punishment, and total control. The Council's ships moved closer to human space, ready to strike. Sarah, the leader of the colony, stood before her people, calm but firm. This was an accident, she said. We have done nothing wrong. We will not surrender to fear. Beside her, Liam, the colony's military commander, nodded. They do not understand us. We must be ready for whatever comes. The humans sent urgent messages to the Council, explaining the accident and asking for calm. They offered to cooperate, to investigate, and to prevent any more mistakes. But the Council ignored them. They wanted war. They wanted humans to bow. Sarah walked through the streets of Avonport, seeing the fear in the people's eyes. Families huddled together, children clung to their parents, and workers stared at the sky, where distant Council ships were appearing like dark clouds. Sarah stopped and looked at Liam. They do not know us, she said softly. They will learn. Liam put a hand on her shoulder. Then we will show them. But we must be careful. We fight only to protect our own. The Council's first ships arrived in orbit, large and threatening. They hung above the colony like shadows, their weapons ready. Humans did not panic. Instead, they worked quickly, evacuating civilians, strengthening defenses, and preparing for anything. Every human moved with purpose. Every human helped another. It was the kind of unity the Council had never seen before. Council officers on the ships observed humans through their scanners. They expected chaos, screams, and surrender. Instead, they saw calm, order, and courage. Why are they not afraid? One officer asked. Another replied, they are humans. They are simple. But they are not weak. Sarah and Liam continued to plan. They knew the Council would not back down. But they also knew humans had something no other species had: patience, intelligence, and the will to survive. They would not strike first. They would not attack innocent worlds. But they would protect their own at any cost. At night, Sarah walked on the balcony of the colony headquarters. She could see the stars and the looming Council ships. She whispered to herself, we will survive. We always survive. Liam joined her, and together they watched the stars, knowing that the coming days would test humanity in ways no one had ever imagined. The first small skirmishes began when Council scouts tried to land on the outskirts of the colony. Humans met them with careful defense, stopping them without unnecessary harm. Every action was measured. Every move was precise. The Council was frustrated. They had expected easy victory, but humans did not break. Word spread across the galaxy of the human colony that refused to surrender. Some species whispered in fear, others in curiosity. No one had seen humans fight like this before. They were calm, smart, and united. They did not attack out of anger. They acted only to defend themselves. Sarah called a meeting with the colony leaders. The Council believes we are weak, she said. They will make mistakes if they continue. We must be ready to act to protect our people, but always wisely. We will not give them the satisfaction of fear or chaos. Liam nodded. Every choice we make will count. They may be powerful, but they are not clever like us. Over the next few days, humans repaired damage from the accident and strengthened their defenses. Scientists and engineers worked day and night. Civilians helped however they could, moving supplies, assisting doctors, and keeping morale high. The Council watched from orbit, growing impatient and angry. But every attempt to provoke the humans failed. Finally, Sarah gathered the council of human leaders. "They think spilling blood will make us weak," she said. "They are wrong. They will learn that humans are not weak. They will learn that we do not fight recklessly but we fight to survive. And when we fight with skill, unity, and intelligence." Liam added, "The galaxy will see a new kind of human, one they cannot ignore. Today may be the day trouble began, but it will not be the day we fall." And so, the small human colony of Avonport stood strong, facing the Council's wrath with courage, intelligence, and hope. The Council had made its first mistake, underestimating humanity. And humanity was ready to show them why. The morning started like any other, with the pale light of Avonport's sun spilling across the colony's clean streets and quiet buildings. Humans moved about their daily routines, children playing near the gardens, workers checking machinery, and farmers tending to the small patches of soil the colony had cultivated. For a brief moment life seemed normal. But above the sky, dark shapes slowly appeared. Council ships, massive and imposing, glided silently into orbit. Their shadows stretched across the colony like a dark warning. Sarah and Liam stood on the command balcony watching the alien fleet arrive. "They have come," Liam said quietly, his eyes narrowing. "Prepare for evacuation. Protect civilians first." Sarah nodded. "We do not fight to attack," she said firmly. "We fight to defend. And we fight smart." As the first energy blast struck the outskirts of the colony, buildings shook and alarms rang through the streets. Fires erupted in several areas and dust and smoke filled the air. Panic could have spread easily, but the humans remained organized. Civilians were guided to safe zones, medics moved swiftly to help the injured, and security teams coordinated rescue operations. Council soldiers tried to land on the colony's surface, expecting humans to scatter and run. But the humans did not run. They held their positions, using barriers and defensive drones to block the soldiers' path. Small groups of trained humans moved like shadows, disabling enemy machines without direct confrontation. Every movement was precise, efficient, and careful. "Why don't they panic?" whispered a young council officer, his voice trembling as he watched through the fleet's observation monitors. He turned to his superior. "They are supposed to be weak. They should be afraid, screaming, surrendering. But they are calm, too calm." The senior officer frowned. "Humans are simple, yes. But they are organized. And they are clever. We cannot predict what they will do next." Sarah moved quickly through the emergency center, checking on civilians and coordinating rescue efforts. "We have to keep calm," she told her team. "Every life matters. Every choice matters. Move quickly but do not panic. We cannot let them think they can break us." Liam directed security squads to reinforce damaged areas, ensuring that bridges, tunnels, and critical systems were protected. "Keep civilians safe," he said. "Stop the attackers without putting anyone at risk unnecessarily. Every life counts." Meanwhile, in the skies above, small human fighters launched from hidden hangars. They were not attacking the Council ships directly. Instead, they disabled landing gear and communication arrays, making it difficult for the aliens to coordinate. Each strike was brief, precise, and invisible to the untrained eye. The Council fleet began to grow frustrated. Every attack seemed to disappear before they could respond. In one part of the colony, a group of children had become separated from their families during the chaos. A medic named Henry quickly gathered them, leading them through narrow tunnels to a safe underground shelter. "Stay together," he said gently. "We will not let anything happen to you." The children trusted him, following his every step. Outside, explosions shook the ground, but inside, Henry kept them calm, telling small stories and playing quiet games to distract them from fear. On the surface, Liam led a small squad to rescue trapped workers in a partially destroyed factory. Debris had blocked the exits, and the alien fire was dangerously close. Liam directed the humans, working together to lift heavy metal beams and pull the injured to safety. Each person knew their role, each step calculated, and no one acted recklessly. The Council soldiers expected to see chaos, but instead, they saw humans working with coordination and courage. Sarah monitored the main communication channels, sending messages of guidance and reassurance to the citizens. "Do not panic," she said calmly. "Trust each other. Help each other. We will survive this. Humans always survive." Her words were simple, but they carried authority and confidence that spread through the colony like sunlight through clouds. Council commanders began arguing in their fleet. "They are too organized. They fight without fear. How can this be? We should be winning this easily." One officer shouted. They are just humans. They are weak. We have numbers, technology, and weapons far beyond theirs. Another shook his head. No. They are different. They think faster than we can, act smarter than we expect, and they care for each other in ways we cannot understand. This is not normal. As the day progressed, humans continued rescuing civilians. Small groups carried the injured to medical centers, guided workers to shelters, and ensured children and elders were safe. At every turn, humans acted with intelligence and care. They were not fighting for revenge, not fighting for conquest, only for survival and the protection of their own people. By evening, the first wave of council attacks had ended. Many buildings were damaged, but the humans had saved thousands of lives. Fires were being controlled, the injured treated, and emergency systems restored. The council fleet retreated slightly, confused and frustrated by the humans' unexpected calm and cleverness. Sarah and Liam stood together on the command balcony again, looking at the stars where the alien ships hovered. They expected panic, Sarah said quietly. They expected fear. But we gave them order, courage, and unity. Liam nodded. This is only the beginning. But they have already learned something important. Humans are not easily broken. In hidden corners of the colony, small teams of humans worked through the night, repairing defenses, helping the injured, and preparing for whatever might come next. Every human, from the youngest child to the oldest engineer, knew that they were part of something greater. Their unity and careful planning had kept their people alive. Across the galaxy, alien observers began to whisper stories of the human colony that did not panic, that rescued its people while under attack, and that fought back intelligently without seeking unnecessary violence. Some species began to doubt the Council's judgment. Others began to watch with curiosity. Sarah walked through the quieted streets, now cleared of immediate danger. She saw the survivors, tired and shaken but alive. She smiled gently. We survived today, she said. We protected our own. And we will continue to do so, no matter what comes next. Liam joined her, his armor scorched and dented from the defense efforts. They will not understand us easily, he said. But they will learn. One way or another, they will learn that humans are not weak. Above them, the Council fleet lingered in orbit, watching and waiting. They had expected an easy victory, but humans had proven them wrong. They had underestimated humanity, and that mistake would shape the coming days, weeks, and years. The first attack had ended, but the war was only beginning. And in that quiet moment, humans of Avonport understood something crucial. Courage, intelligence, and care for one another were far stronger than any weapon. And with that strength, they would survive, no matter what the Council threw at them next. The morning after the first attack, the colony of Avonport was quiet, but humans were far from idle. The Council ships hovered in orbit, watching every move, expecting weakness, confusion, and fear. But humans had already learned that patience was a weapon just as strong as any laser cannon. Emma, a young but brilliant strategist, stood with Jack, her second in command. They studied the Council ships through small observation satellites. They think they have us cornered, Emma said, pointing at the images. But we have already learned their movements. We can strike where they are weakest and they won't see us coming. Jack nodded. Then we hit them quietly, carefully. We do not fight to destroy. We fight to survive and to slow them down. Small human ships, fast and nearly invisible, slipped through the shadows of space. Emma and Jack led teams in precise strikes. They targeted supply lines, cutting communication beams and disabling small cargo vessels. Every action was calculated to confuse the Council, delay reinforcements, and keep civilians safe. No unnecessary violence, no attacks on populated areas, only careful sabotage. Council officers grew frantic. They disappear before we can respond, one shouted, slamming his clawed hand against a control panel. Every strike is gone, no wreckage, no message, nothing. Another officer frowned. How can a weak species move like this? How can they strike with skill and vanish? They are not ordinary humans. Something is wrong. On the surface of Avonport, humans continued repairs and defense preparations, but small teams were already moving beyond the colony. Emma and Jack led them personally. They worked together to disable Council drones, cut off alien fuel supplies, and gather intelligence on enemy movements. Every human knew the rules. No civilian harm, minimal destruction, maximum efficiency. At one supply station floating near the outer orbit, Jack's team planted small disruption devices. They quietly slipped in, worked with precision, and were gone before the alarms even registered. When Council soldiers arrived minutes later, they found nothing but a few scattered signals and a message burned into the console. Humans were here. The Council fleet commander could not believe it. "They are ghosts," he barked. "How do they move so fast? How do they strike without being seen? This should be impossible." His officers exchanged nervous looks. No one had an answer. Humans seemed simple and weak, but their intelligence and strategy were beyond the Council's understanding. Emma moved her team to another target, a small weapons depot in orbit. They hacked the systems remotely, disabling weapons arrays and creating false signals that made the Council think attacks were coming from multiple directions. Jack's voice came over the comms quietly. "Everyone remember, calm, precise and silent. Do not engage unless necessary. Every move counts." Inside the Council fleet, panic began to spread. Officers argued endlessly about how humans could act so effectively with such few numbers. "They have no numbers. Their ships are small," one shouted. "Yet they cripple our supply lines, confuse our patrols and vanish without leaving a trace. This is unnatural." Meanwhile, humans were careful to avoid direct confrontation. On one reconnaissance mission, Emma's team discovered a Council patrol moving near a civilian transport. Instead of engaging, they created a silent diversion, pulling the patrol away and allowing the transport to pass safely. "We fight smart," Emma said to her team later. "We protect our own and strike only where it matters. That is what makes us strong." Jack watched the colony from orbit as humans moved in small squads to disrupt the Council's operations. He saw engineers, soldiers, and even civilians acting together to make a difference. They patched damaged ships, repaired defenses, and supplied food and medicine to those in need. Every person played a role, and every action contributed to the survival of all. The Council tried to predict human behavior, but it was impossible. Humans were adaptable, thinking ahead, and working together in ways the Council could not understand. Ships that were disabled by humans suddenly reappeared, hidden from sensors, in unexpected positions. Supply lines that seemed destroyed were rerouted cleverly to maintain flow. Every human action was precise and unexpected. Emma and Jack regrouped at a hidden orbital station. "They still don't understand us," Emma said quietly. "They think they can intimidate us with numbers and weapons, but they cannot. Humans think differently. Humans work together. And humans survive." Jack nodded. "Every move we make now teaches them a lesson. They will not underestimate us again." During the night, humans continued their work. Small teams moved silently between stations, cutting off reinforcements and gathering intelligence. Civilians assisted with communications, engineers repaired drones, and soldiers coordinated defense operations. Every human understood the importance of discipline and teamwork. Their unity was their strength. Council officers watched helplessly as humans struck without fear and vanished without trace. Their frustration grew into fear. "We are losing control," one admitted in a low voice. "They are not attacking recklessly. They are not panicking. They are learning faster than we can adapt." Emma looked at Jack from the observation deck of their small command ship. "They expect humans to be weak, to panic, to make mistakes. But we do not act out of fear. We act with purpose. We act for our people. That is why we cannot be broken." Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. "The galaxy is starting to notice. Other species are watching. Soon, everyone will understand what humans are capable of." By the time the Council fleet pulled back slightly to regroup, human teams had disabled several key supply depots, disrupted patrols, and gathered valuable information about the enemy's movements. They had not attacked civilians. They had not destroyed entire fleets. Yet, their actions had shifted the balance in the humans' favor. The Council could not comprehend how such a small, underestimated species could move with such efficiency, skill, and purpose. Back at Avonport, civilians cheered quietly as news arrived of the human successes in space. Engineers and medics continued their work, inspired by the courage and intelligence of the teams operating in orbit. Sarah and Liam met in the command center. "They are beginning to understand," Sarah said. "They think humans are weak. But they are learning slowly that we are not." Liam nodded. "Every step we take now shows them what humans can do. We do not fight recklessly. We fight smart. And that is what makes us stronger than they realize." As night fell over the colony, Emma and Jack looked at the stars, thinking about the coming days. "We are not done," Jack said quietly. "But today humans have shown that they can strike back without fear, without chaos, and without unnecessary destruction. That is our strength." Emma smiled. "They will learn soon enough that humans are not weak. They will learn that we fight for each other, and that is something no one can underestimate." The first real human counterattacks had begun, small and careful but powerful in effect. The council had made a grave mistake. They had assumed humans would panic, would be reckless, and would be easy to destroy. Instead, they had discovered a species that was clever, patient, and united. Humans were fighting back, not blindly, not recklessly, but with intelligence, precision, and unwavering purpose. And the galaxy was watching. By the end of the night, every human in the colony understood one truth: they were not just survivors. They were humans, and humans were unstoppable when they worked together. The first strike had been a test, and humans had passed it with courage, skill, and unity. The council would never forget it, and neither would the humans. The council was furious. Their plans had failed, their supply lines had been disrupted, and their forces had been embarrassed by a species they thought weak and disorganized. "This is unacceptable," the council commander snarled. "Humans cannot be allowed to continue like this. We must strike directly. Send the full fleet to Earth. Show them our power. Make them fear us." Sarah and Liam were already expecting this move. Through the colony's observation networks, they had tracked council communications and ship movements. "They will strike Earth," Liam said calmly. "But we are ready. We have prepared for this. We knew they would make a mistake." Sarah nodded. "Then we make them pay, not with anger but with skill and precision. We fight to protect, not to destroy. And we will not fail." As the massive council fleet approached Earth, humans moved quietly into position. Their ships were smaller, faster, and almost invisible against the darkness of space. Humans had studied the fleet's patterns, predicted their movements, and planned attacks for every weakness. Emma and Jack led small strike teams, each with a clear goal: cripple the council fleet without unnecessary destruction. The first council ships entered orbit over the human colonies near Earth. They believed humans would panic, that fear would weaken them, and that surrender would be immediate. But humans did not panic. Instead, they activated decoys, moved ships into hidden positions, and prepared for the attack. Every human knew their role. Every move was precise. When the council fired their first energy blasts, human ships struck silently. They disabled weapon systems, tore through communication arrays, and created confusion without revealing their positions. Council officers barked orders, but signals were scrambled and their attacks misdirected. The humans were not attacking recklessly, they struck only where it mattered, striking fear into the hearts of the arrogant aliens. Sarah broadcasted a message across the galaxy directly to the council: "You spilled human blood first. You chose war. Now face the consequences." Her voice was calm, steady, and clear. Every council member could hear it. Every officer paused. The words carried authority and certainty, and the meaning was unmistakable. Humanity would not forgive, and humanity would not bow. Council members panicked. Ships that should have been firing efficiently were suddenly malfunctioning. Supply lines vanished. Communications broke. Small human strike teams moved like shadows, hitting critical points and vanishing without a trace. "They are everywhere," one officer shouted. "And nowhere. How can they strike without being seen? This is impossible." Jack led a team to a supply station hovering near Earth's orbit. Using precision tools and electronic jammers, they disabled energy shields and cut off fuel supplies. When the council arrived minutes later, they found only a broken system and a single holographic message: "Humans predicted you." The aliens could not understand how a species they had called weak could move with such intelligence and skill. On Earth itself, civilians watched the sky in awe and fear. But humans worked together to protect them. Air defense systems were activated not to attack, but to intercept small council scouts and protect the planet's surface. Engineers and scientists coordinated with the strike teams in orbit, ensuring every move was calculated, precise, and effective. No panic spread, no chaos disrupted the work. Sarah and Liam coordinated the entire defense from the command center, calm and focused. "They think their numbers make them strong," Sarah said. "But numbers are useless without skill, without intelligence, and without unity. Humans have all three. That is why they will fail." Liam nodded. "Every strike we make is precise. Every move is calculated. They cannot predict humans and they cannot break us. Not now, not ever." Council officers argued among themselves. "We have never seen a species like this," one said. "We control the galaxy, yet humans defy us. They are not reckless. They are not afraid. They are something else." Another shook his head. "They are too clever, too organized, too united. And they strike only where it matters. How can a species so small move with such skill?" Meanwhile, small human teams continued their work. Emma's squad disabled additional council drones silently, while Jack's squad intercepted patrol ships, leading them into traps where they could be neutralized without casualties. Every action confused the Council fleet further. Their leaders were forced to retreat to regroup, but each retreat brought more frustration, more fear, and more acknowledgement that humans were not ordinary. Sarah addressed her people on the planet's communication network. "They wanted to scare us," she said. "They wanted to make us bow. But we are not afraid. We are humans. We fight to protect our own, and we do so with skill, intelligence, and courage. Today we have shown them that we are not weak. They will learn it, and the galaxy will know it." By the end of the day, the massive Council fleet had been crippled. Many ships were damaged, some lost entirely, and their supply lines disrupted. Their attempt to scare humans had failed completely. What they thought would be a display of strength had turned into a humiliation. The humans had predicted their every move, struck with precision, and protected their planet without unnecessary loss of life. Council members panicked in their command chambers. "We cannot win," one admitted. "These humans are not like any species we have faced. They think faster, act smarter, and fight for each other in ways we do not understand. We cannot defeat them with power alone." Sarah and Liam watched the fleet from the observation balcony. "They will learn," Sarah said quietly. "They will learn that humans do not strike out of anger. We strike out of necessity. And when we strike with precision, skill, and unity." Liam nodded. "And they will never forget it. The Council made a mistake. They will pay for underestimating us." The human victory that day was quiet but powerful. No civilians were harmed. No reckless attacks were made. Humans had shown the galaxy that they could fight smart, protect their own, and turn the tide against a far more powerful enemy. Above Earth, the Council fleet slowly withdrew, damaged and humiliated. They had learned something crucial. Underestimating humans was a grave mistake. Humans were not weak, they were not reckless, and they were not to be feared for their weapons alone, but for their courage, intelligence, and unity. As night fell over Earth, Sarah walked along the observation deck, looking at the stars where the Council fleet had hovered. "They thought spilling human blood would scare us," she said softly. "But we have shown them that humans do not fear. They do not panic. They act with purpose. And that is a power no fleet can defeat." Jack and Emma joined her, weary but proud. "We have made them hesitate," Emma said. "They now know humans are not to be underestimated." Jack smiled. "Today we did not fight recklessly. We fought smart. And that is the real strength of humanity." The Council had made a terrible mistake. They had acted with anger, arrogance, and pride. And humans had turned it against them with skill, courage, and intelligence. The war was far from over, but the first major battle had already shown the galaxy one undeniable truth. Humans could not be broken, and they would not bow. The galaxy had never seen humans move like this before. After the Council's failed attempt to scare Earth, humanity did not hesitate. Instead of rushing recklessly, they acted with precision and intelligence. Every strike was planned, every action calculated. The humans were no longer defending, they were taking control. Emma and Jack led teams through space, striking at Council military stations. Each station was attacked quietly, almost invisibly. Communication arrays were disabled, weapon systems shut down, and supply lines disrupted. Not a single civilian world was harmed. Humans worked like shadows, appearing where needed and disappearing before the enemy could respond. Jack watched one of the Council stations explode silently on the scanner, not with chaos but with perfect timing. "They always underestimated us," he said to Emma. "Now they see who we are." Emma nodded. "They thought we were weak. But they are learning too late. Humans fight for each other, and that makes us strong." Council leaders were panicked. Ships they thought secure were suddenly disabled. Patrol fleets were gone. Supply routes were broken. Council officers shouted at each other, trying to figure out how a species they called primitive could control the flow of battle so completely. "How is this possible?" one asked. "They have fewer ships, fewer weapons, and smaller numbers. And yet they are stronger than we are." On Earth and nearby human colonies, civilians watched the news in awe. Humans were striking the Council with precision, but they were also saving lives. Engineers repaired damaged stations. Medics helped the injured. Every citizen contributed to the effort, whether in orbit or on the planet. There was no chaos, no fear, only unity and purpose. Emma and Jack planned the next strike. They aimed at a key Council supply hub. Using stealth ships and precise calculations, the team disabled energy shields and cut off reinforcements. When the Council arrived, they found only a crippled hub and no humans in sight. Every move taught the aliens the same lesson: Humans were not reckless, but humans were unstoppable when organized. Sarah coordinated operations from the main Earth Command Center. "We fight not to destroy but to protect," she said. "Every strike counts. Every life matters. We do not fight recklessly. We fight smart. That is why we succeed." Liam nodded beside her. "We are showing the galaxy what humans are. They will learn that we are not weak, that we are disciplined, and that we fight for each other. That is our real strength." Council fleets scrambled in confusion. Each strike left them disorganized. Officers tried to regroup, but every plan failed. Humans anticipated every movement, struck only where it mattered, and vanished before the aliens could react. Panic spread through the council. Ships that should have protected key stations were gone. Supply lines that should have been secure were severed. Their military dominance was slipping fast. Meanwhile, Emma and Jack led a strike against a heavily guarded weapons platform. Using clever maneuvers, they infiltrated the platform without triggering alarms. They disabled the weapons quietly, leaving the station powerless. When council reinforcements arrived, they were met with silence, confusion, and chaos in the enemy ranks. The aliens could not believe how a smaller, weaker species could strike so effectively. On Earth, Sarah addressed the humans through a galaxy-wide broadcast. "We are not strong because of weapons or ships," she said. "We are strong because we work together, because we care for each other, and because we fight with purpose. Today we are showing the galaxy that humanity cannot be ignored." The council had no answers. Every officer knew that humans were different. They did not panic. They did not attack blindly. They calculated, they planned, and they struck only when it mattered. Each action left the council fleet weaker, slower, and more fearful. Even the most powerful alien ships were no match for humans' intelligence, patience, and unity. Jack looked at Emma on the observation deck. "The galaxy is watching," he said quietly. "They see humans rise, disciplined, strong, and smart. No one expected this." Emma smiled. "They underestimated us from the start. And now they know. Humans cannot be stopped when we act together." Every human in the colonies understood their role. Civilians repaired stations, delivered supplies, and helped wherever needed. Soldiers defended key locations. Engineers and pilots coordinated attacks across space. Humanity was united, moving as one, each person knowing their part and performing it flawlessly. By the end of the first week of counterattacks, the Council had lost multiple stations, ships, and supply lines. Their fleets were in disarray. Council officers were terrified of human unpredictability and skill. Every strike taught them the same lesson. Humans were not weak, humans were not reckless, and humans could not be controlled by fear or intimidation. Sarah walked through the command center, watching operations in progress. Every screen showed human success. Every sensor confirmed that humans were in control of the battle. "We do not seek to dominate," she said softly. "We fight to protect, to survive, and to show the galaxy who we are. That is how humans win." Liam stood beside her. "And we are winning," he said. "The Council thought they could intimidate us. They thought they could scare us. They were wrong. Every action we take now shows the galaxy that humans cannot be underestimated." As humans continued their strikes, the Council fleets retreated further into their territory, regrouping but unable to stop the humans. Emma and Jack planned the next moves, always precise, always careful, always protecting civilians. Humans were not just fighting back, they were taking control. Across the galaxy, other species watched. They saw humans rise with courage, intelligence, and discipline. Some whispered in fear, others in admiration. All realized one thing clearly: humans were not weak and they were not to be ignored. Jack looked at Emma one last time that day. "They thought we were weak," he said. "Now they see who we really are." Emma smiled. "The galaxy is watching. Humanity has risen. And they will never forget it." The humans had taken control, not through anger, not through chaos, but through intelligence, precision, and unity. Every strike was careful, every move was calculated, and every life mattered. The Council had underestimated them from the start, and now the galaxy was seeing what true human strength really meant. The Council was desperate. After weeks of failed attacks, lost fleets, and crippled stations, they gathered what remained of their forces for one final strike against Earth. "We cannot allow humans to rise," the Council commanders snarled. "If we destroy Earth, we can end their rebellion once and for all." Ships poured out of hidden docks, forming a massive, terrifying fleet that stretched across space. They were confident, powerful, and determined, or so they thought. Sarah and Liam watched the approaching fleet from Earth's command center. "They are coming," Liam said calmly, though his eyes were sharp and focused. But we have prepared for this. This is what we have trained for, planned for, and expected. Sarah nodded. Then let us show them the consequences of underestimating humanity. Human fleets moved silently into position. Every ship was accounted for. Every squad had its role. Civilians were safe, defenses were reinforced, and strike teams were ready to disable the enemy without unnecessary destruction. Humans did not attack blindly. They waited for the perfect moment to act. As the Council fleet approached Earth's orbit, they expected chaos and fear. They expected humans to scatter. But Earth remained calm. Human ships struck like shadows. Using precise maneuvers, they cut off the Council fleet's escape routes, disabling engines and communications one by one. Council ships tried to retreat, but every path led into another human squad. Every movement had already been anticipated. Jack led a strike team to intercept a Council wing attempting to break through. They will not escape, he said. Every move they make we have already thought of. Stay calm. Strike only where necessary. His team acted with perfect timing, disabling the enemy ship's engines without destroying them. They vanished before the Council could respond. Emma coordinated with orbital stations, sending instructions to every human ship. Small teams disabled weapons arrays, jammed sensors, and protected civilian zones. The Council was trapped. Every attempt to escape failed. Every maneuver led to further confusion. Panic spread through their command decks. Why can they anticipate everything? A Council officer screamed. We are powerful. Our numbers are greater. Our weapons are stronger. How can humans, a weak species, control the battlefield like this? Another shook his head. They are not weak. They fight together. They think faster than we can. Every action is precise. And they protect their own. We cannot win. Sarah watched the Council fleet through the command center screens. They expected fear. They expected chaos. But humans do not panic. We act with purpose. We fight for each other. And that makes us stronger than they realize. Liam stood beside her, nodding. The Council learned too late. They spilled human blood first, and now they face the consequences. The Council commander finally called for surrender. His fleet was trapped, engines disabled, and supply lines cut. We surrender, he admitted reluctantly. Humans, you have defeated us. A silence fell across the command center screens. Humans had won not through anger, not through reckless attack, but through intelligence, precision, and unity. Sarah turned to Liam, her expression calm but proud. We did not start the war, she said softly. We only defended our own. Liam smiled slightly. And we have protected them well. Humanity has shown its true strength today. Across Earth and the surrounding colonies, humans celebrated quietly but with pride. They had defended their people, saved countless lives, and proven that unity, courage, and intelligence were greater than any fleet or weapon. Civilians and soldiers alike knew they had been part of something historic. The galaxy had witnessed a small species rise against overwhelming odds, and win. Council members, once arrogant and proud, had been humbled. They had learned that underestimating humans came with a terrible price. Across their ranks, officers whispered of humanity's skill, patience, and courage. They are not weak, one admitted. We were fools to think so. Humans cannot be controlled or intimidated. We must remember this. Jack and Emma watched the retreating Council ships. They will tell others about this, Jack said. The galaxy will know that humans are not to be underestimated. Emma nodded. And every time someone doubts us in the future, they will remember Earth. They will remember how humans defended themselves, and how they fought with intelligence, precision, and unity. Sarah addressed all humans via the galactic network. We have protected our people. We have defended our homes. And we have shown the galaxy who humans truly are. We fight for each other, we fight with purpose, and we fight with intelligence. Today humanity has earned respect, not through fear but through courage and unity. Liam stood beside her as the message ended. We do not seek to conquer, he said. We only protect. But the galaxy now knows, humans cannot be ignored, underestimated, or broken. From that day on, humans were respected. They were no longer a weak species at the edge of Council territories. Other species watched and learned, knowing that humans were disciplined, intelligent, and united. Even the Council, once feared across the galaxy, would never again underestimate humanity. Earth became a symbol not of war but of the strength of unity and courage. Humans continued to grow, explore, and thrive, always protecting each other and acting with intelligence. The galaxy understood a simple truth. The most dangerous species is not the one with the strongest weapons, but the one that fights together with purpose, courage, and heart. And so, the council had fallen, not with destruction alone, but with the realization that their arrogance had been their undoing. Humanity stood strong, disciplined, and respected, and the galaxy would never forget the day the council spilled human blood, and paid the price. From that day forward, humans were no longer the species to be underestimated. They were a force united, clever, and courageous, ready to defend their own at any cost. And the galaxy watched, in awe and respect, as humanity rose to its place among the stars.